Welcome back to DR Sports for an incredible preview of what promises to be an amazing Euros. The Women's Euros, Euro 2022. Who better to have to let me know all the things that we need to know before the tournament starts than Pippa? How are you doing?
I'm
Happy
good.
birthday as well.
Oh, thank you.
It's in order. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm excited. I feel like I've been waiting, or everyone's been waiting extra long for this one, but I feel like it's come at a very good time because obviously this tournament was meant to take place last summer.
That's it.
And then obviously COVID, everything's been pushed back. And because I was doing the build-up, like I felt like I think it was in 2020. It feels like I've been waiting forever, but I think it's the perfect time now. I feel like the momentum's built up even more.
That's it. No Euros for the women since 2017,
Yeah,
is it
it's
now?
crazy, yeah.
It's been a while. Holland won the last one. We're outside Wembley, of course, where the final is going to be played. The only game that's going to take place at Wembley is the final. Talk to me about where all the different games are going to be played. We've seen Stadium MK, we've got Old Trafford in there.
There's Brighton, Hove Albion.
There's Brighton, there's Man City's Academy ground, which is slightly controversial.
Very controversial. I've seen a bit of uproar on social media about that, the teams that will be playing there. Obviously, I'm not happy. They probably wanted the Etihad for more allocation because the tickets sold out pretty fast for pretty much every game, but I'm sure certain countries are thinking people are playing in big Premier League stadiums, such as the Brentford Community Stadium as well, the one in London. There's other big stadiums, and then the Academy Stadium. But the Academy Stadium is a lovely stadium, though. Great facilities, great pitch, and I know it's not the biggest capacity, but it's a very good stadium. I mean, the Man City women play there. There's no complaints. It's a really good stadium. I go there all the time.
And a lot of Man City women players are playing in the Euros as well.
Yeah.
Talk to me about who the favourites are, because I feel like it's almost a tipping point, this competition for women's football. You mentioned earlier how it's almost a great time to have it. We've waited so long for it. The interest, the population of the women's game has grown so much. Do you feel like this is now a tipping point for women's football in general?
I think, I don't know how the players are feeling, especially like the Lionesses. I feel a bit more closer to them because that's the host country. The players I see all the time, the players that play in WSL.
You work with them?
Yeah, I work with them. I always want to I get there excited, but I'm like, how do you really feel? Because you've played so many competitions, and not to downplay the women's game, but it's never been with this much eyes on the game, with this much pressure. And it's like, how are you going to play under that pressure? So many more eyes watching. It's more accessible on TV, people watching worldwide, more fans coming to the games, and it's insane. So of course I want to back England as favourites. Of course, home city, they're a good team, a good manager.
Euros here since 2005.
I know.
So we're almost 20 years deep with no Euros in this country, but as you say, they're looking good.
But I mean, I have to back them, but there are other teams that are of course favourites. Netherlands, of course, they won it the last time, 2017. They're going to want to retain that cup, and they've got quality players. But I feel like the underdogs, like Sweden, France are a good chance as well. So it could be interesting. I can't even pick a favourite. It's going to be good games all round.
Absolutely, and we're covering every single game, by the way, on DR Sports. You're going to see a lot of Pippa. There's another Pippa as well that's going to be joining us, myself, James. Everyone's looking to get involved for what promises to be an amazing tournament. Talk to me about when this starts, what kind of mania can we expect? We've seen with the men's last year, but because there is no men's this year, do you think there's going to be more male support for the women this year than ever before?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'm around grassroots football all the time, and I think this is the first time I've ever seen so many young boys, even teenage boys, talking about women's football. So that alone says to me that this is a whole new audience. It's not just young girls and women getting excited. There's men, and of course there's no football. Everyone wants to watch football. We miss football in the summer. There's no competitions except for the Women's Euros. So it's no better time for people to get on board, and I think it's going to be, it's going to open eyes to a lot of people that haven't maybe watched it before, have only started watching it, to open eyes to new players. Because even people in this country that may have watched the WSL, but it's more accessible now on Sky Sports and BBC, they may be familiar with the players that play in England, but then they're going to be open to a whole new realm of players that play Champions League football and play in these different cities and different countries, and they're going to be impressed.
How do you think, I mean, we're talking about how big this tournament promises to be. Off the back of it, do you expect more involvement at grassroots level? Do you expect more girls to get into the game? I mean, we're seeing record numbers already.
Yeah, I'm seeing it already.
But as I mentioned, this tipping point, I think it could be, really defines and cements the women's place within not just men's football, but football in general in this country.
I think most definitely. I mean, if anyone is into sports already, or maybe even not into sports, because when I was younger, I just happened to stumble across women's football on BBC Two. It wasn't regular, but I saw it. And from that moment, I wanted to know about women's football. There's going to be so many young girls and young boys that are going to see this on their TV, maybe even on the off chance, might be home on a Saturday afternoon or whatever it is, and a Tuesday evening, see the game and be like, who is that player? I want to be like that. And it's going to open the door for more grassroots football teams. They're going to, after the summer, all the grassroots football teams have all these applicants coming in, like, how do I start playing football? How do I get my daughter into football? And I think that's what's going to open the door for.
As you mentioned, BBC is showing every game as well. It's accessible. The eyes on it are going to be incredible. You mentioned earlier that Holland are the favourites still, really. They won it last time. You've got a certain Arsenal striker that's firing as well.
Yeah.
Would you have them down as the favourites then?
Yeah, they're definitely top 3 favourites for me. 100%. They're going to want to retain that cup, retain that title, and they've got the quality to do so. But it's not going to be easy at all.
And you mentioned the Lionesses, everyone's getting involved. You've seen Williamson is now the captain.
Yeah, amazing.
I watched an interview with Faye White yesterday. She was captain for so many years. She's so excited to see how they get on. I mean, when they step out onto that pitch with the home advantage, do you think that's going to prove to be a difference? Because it almost was for the men's. We obviously got to the final. But that home advantage, do you feel... Because all these girls are playing on these pitches, as you mentioned. Is that going to make a difference?
I think it should do. I mean, it should get them even more excited if they're not already, because just having that extra buzz and knowing that there's all these people supporting you. Because I guess as a player, you kind of can get into your own bubble sometimes and just know that what your fan base is. And they're going to be open to a whole new fan base. More roars in the stadium, more flags, more noise, and it's just going to be, you're going to want to perform for those people that's supporting you, and hopefully we can go all the way.
Right, let's take a look at where some of the games are playing. We mentioned some of the stadiums and the groups as well. It's important to know those. So Group A, England, Austria, Norway, Northern Ireland. The venues for those: Old Trafford, Southampton and Brighton.
Good stadiums.
Let's go through it group by group. So Group A, you've seen the stadiums, you've seen the teams. Who do you expect to come out on top?
I mean, I'm not even trying to be biased, but Lionesses, of course.
With that home advantage as well. And then Group B, Germany, Denmark, Spain. Massive team that, considering how many players they got in the Barcelona team that won the Champions League. And
no,
Finland
they lost,
as well.
babes.
Did they lose?
Yeah.
My bad.
They were favourites, but they lost,
and that's at Milton Keynes and Brentford in Group B. I think pick a winner from that group?
Spain and Germany.
I mean,
wait, hold on. Is it two from each group?
Two
it must be,
yeah.
Spain and Germany. I could be wrong here, but that's who I expect to get through.
Group C, we mentioned the Netherlands already. They're there. Sweden are there as well. Who
one of my favourites.
Exactly. You were saying that their support is like nothing else when it comes to women's football.
I mean, at the World Cup, it was sensational.
It was.
So.
Switzerland there as well, and Portugal. The venues for that, Lee. Not too sure where is that. Lee is
like Lee Village.
I was going to say Lee. Okay, interesting. And Bramwell Lane.
Yeah.
Sheffield as well. I was with Courtney Sweetman-Kirk a couple of weeks ago. She plays for the Blades. Yeah. So I know all about the Sheffield team.
Listen, that's hot. Don't sleep on Switzerland. You know, they've got absolute ballers. Ramona Bachmann's still in there. Alicia Lehmann. Like these
Alicia Lehmann plays for Villa, right?
Yeah. Don't sleep on Switzerland. I forgot a silent horse as well. Dark horse. Okay. That's a tough group. That one.
Do you know what? I'm going to go with them as my dark horses as well.
Tough group.
And yeah. Interesting to see how that one finishes. France, massive team there. Italy, Belgium and Iceland. Group D. Again, this was the round that has the Manchester City Academy Stadium in it, 4,000 capacity there, and Rotherham as well.
Okay.
And then obviously the finals at Wembley. So Group D, France, Italy, Belgium, Iceland. What are you thinking there?
France and Belgium.
I mean, it's the big names.
Yeah.
That you're recommending.
But you just never know what could happen in a tournament. Honestly.
You don't, and they were saying here on the BBC that Spain are expected to do well again. They got to they were the finalists in 2019 against Holland. Do you think there's a big crossover between how good the men's team is, or is there any correlation between the men's and women's team when we're looking at the Italies, the Spains, the Frances? I
mean, with certain teams definitely, because you look at the Lionesses in England. They're both doing well as well as they can do at the moment. Then you look at Spain, those are, the women, they've got an absolute next level batch of players at the moment. So I think they're possibly a bit better than the men. Obviously not comparing the two. I'm talking about in standards of their competition, how far they can go. But yeah, a lot of them are pretty similar, like across the board.
Right, so Pippa, as the expert for women's football and DR Sports, you're covering almost every game. You're going to be here for some games as well at the home of football. The final's July 31st.
Yes, can't wait.
Putting you on the spot now. I don't want to see no fence sitting. I don't want to see no splinters. I know it was your birthday yesterday, but I'm putting you on the spot. I need the finalists and I need the winner of Euro 2022.
I can't decide.
No, that's not what you're here for. I need you to decide.
Okay, I can give you the two teams that I can assume would get to the final. I have to back Lionesses to go all the way. On home turf, they have to get They have to play at Wembley. They have to play at
right?
Wembley on the final. And I'm going to say up against Netherlands, Spain.
So hang on.
Netherlands.
England in the final versus Netherlands and Spain. No, I need one.
I'm going to say
final, Pippa.
I'm going to say Netherlands. I'm going to say Netherlands.
So are you saying that there is a big chance that they could retain?
There is a big chance.
Are you saying that England are going to lose in yet again another European final?
There is a big chance they can retain, and they've got a top goal scorer that's broken records for her country and her club.
And
that I'm sure is going to be firing goals as well. So yeah, there you have it. Netherlands or Lionesses.
Interesting. A little bit of fence hitting at the end there. But listen, amazing insight into what promises to be, as I've said, an incredible tournament, not only for the Lionesses, but for the women's game in general. We can't wait for it. A great summer of football, as you're right. DR Sports, we're covering it all. We'll see you then. Take care.